You watch those nature documentaries on the cable?
Yeah.
You see the one about lions?
Yeah.
Get this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big. He's so hot. He doesn't want to move. Now, the little lion cubs, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him. Coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this. And they start to move in. The jackals. Hyenas. They're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is. It's too late to be scared. It's time to kill. I'm going to the other room. You come out when you're ready. Don't beat him. Kick his ass.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Daniel Bush with POVPOOL and I'm here with Geraldine. How are you, Tony?
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning. Good afternoon. It's morning somewhere. It's evening somewhere. And we want to wish you guys all a happy Labor Day. Hope you're doing well. And, cooking up by the grill or whatever it is. Whatever it is you're doing, we're glad that you're joining us as well. Whether it be on your laptop or your device or whatever it is. And we just thought that we would put together this podcast for you guys to discuss a few things in pool. Actually, it was kind of Geraldine's idea, wasn't it?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Talk. Say something. This is a podcast. Well, first of all, it says one pocket invasion. What's the deal there?
After our news update, we will be reviewing with commentary a match from the West Coast Swing West Coast Challenge. Bryce Avila versus Josh Clover. And
yeah, that match is an hour and 4 minutes long, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's where it all started. Was Daniel asked me last week if I wanted to do commentary on a match with him from a secondary table that we had coverage from that has no commentary, and maybe an erroneous scoreboard.
Erroneous.
Is that correct?
Well, a slightly ambiguous scoreboard. We had a secondary table which we streamed at the West Coast Challenge in Fremont. And we weren't able to pay full attention to the scoring and to the, to everything on that stream, were we?
Correct.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm rescoring, redubbing these with actual commentary and with the correct scoreboard. So after this podcast, we're gonna do Josh Clover versus Bryce Avila. So anyway, we got a lot to discuss, Geraldine. We've written down a lot of things, haven't we?
Yeah. So that's where it started from, right? Let's do this commentary. And then last night Daniel went to go play pool, and I'm like, hey, you want me to just produce a show? Because I was at home by myself.
Yeah.
And so just kind of developed into this whole massive project that here we are.
Here we are. I mean, here we are actually doing it's my second podcast from the home studio. The first one I did was with Alan Castillo from Milpitas, California. We covered a lot of three cushion stuff, and we just kind of did some three cushion news. But today we're going to do news about pool everywhere, aren't we?
Yes.
And three cushion as well.
And a little three cushion.
Yeah. So what should we talk about first? The Texas?
The Texas Open, give me this, please. Thank you. The Texas Open 9-ball championships at Skinny Bob's in Round Rock, Texas. That's 4,000 added.
Okay.
Currently on the winner's side, Rob Saez, and I'm just giving you a brief overview of the pros that are still in it.
Right.
Rob Saez, Omar Al-Shaheen, Justin Bergman, Warren Kiamko. And then on the one-loss side, you still have John Mora and Francisco Bustamante, among others. There are other players still in it as well.
Okay.
So that's currently going on right now. That's a pay-per-view stream.
That's a pay-per-view stream.
Yeah.
Another pay-per-view stream that is a tournament. How do you feel about that, doing the tournament's pay-per-view?
It's a little tough, I think, in the U.S. because sometimes you don't know who's going to show up.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, with what did I say? 4,000 added to Justice for the 9-ball part of it for today. Yeah, you're gonna expect to have quite a bit of pros, but you don't know who's showing up. It's not an invitational. You know what I mean?
Right, and then also you've got you just don't know who's gonna be on the stream table.
Sure, yeah.
You really, when you're doing pay-per-view, you only want to see premium matches, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that's going on now.
You can follow the bracket on Challenge.
Yeah, there's a Challenge bracket that you can follow.
Otherwise, it's on Pool Action TV pay-per-view. So you can check that out. That's still going on, finishing up today.
Yeah.
The other thing that started yesterday in qualifying rounds was the 10th annual World 9-Ball China Open in Shanghai.
Oh yeah. That's a big deal.
Huge.
Yeah, like 300,000. What is it?
Prize over $373,600. For just the men's.
Wow, man, you could almost buy a house in California for that much money.
You can buy you can't even buy a condo. In LA at least.
Yeah.
But that's the total prize fund. So the qualifying rounds started. It's being held. The qualifying rounds are being held in two separate billiard rooms or pool rooms rather in Shanghai.
Right.
And then the main event starts on the 6th. So after you've gone through the qualifying rounds and all the top players are in now, that's going to be held at Pudong Tangshan Culture and Sports Center. And forgive me if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. But they're moving that main event there to to huge culture and sports center.
Right. Now hold on. Our news source on that is AlisonChang.com, correct? So,
correct.
If anybody has the Google Translate app on their Safari or their Chrome or whatever,
and that's just information.
You can click on the link in the chat room. That's just the information. It doesn't necessarily follow the tournament.
Correct.
Give you results.
There is a link, Daniel, for the stream, and it may change. If I remember correctly, in previous years, it may change from day to day. And it's all in Chinese, so...
Oh, I remember the Chinese
streams.
It
is a foreign broadcast, so you may have a tough time trying to actually see the stream.
Yeah, you know, you'd be lucky if you follow a pro on Facebook. A lot of times the pros will publish the stream address, you know. But I know what you mean. This particular link is not always reliable. In fact, like we're clicking on it now, we can't get it now.
Yeah, it's asking you, you know, an up-to-date Flash player or
Yeah,
what have
all
you.
that stuff.
But you know, you don't know where to. Sometimes you don't know where to click because not everything translates depending on.
We're putting that link in the chat room too.
But otherwise, you know, like among everything, to find a lot of your information, just go to AZ Billiards. Like someone somewhere in the world is going to find. Yeah.
Go to the AZ Billiard forum page.
Someone's going to have that information for you to find out and see. And I didn't, you know, give you this information. But Upstate Al's also streaming the Eastern State Championships.
Oh, yeah, that's going on right now.
And I believe it's on Facebook.
Did you say a state championship? What is it, like 1,000 added and it's a state championship?
Well,
I think the state's got to start stepping up a little bit, folks. $1,000 added state championship.
I don't know. Maybe I'm incorrectly saying it. And
it's a state championship, right?
Eastern, but what state is Eastern State? So.
Well, there's New York, Maine, Vermont.
But this
does not
identify.
If it's several states, then they better really step it up. They better put $370,000 into that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, and I forgot to tell you. You know, so the men's total for the men's purse for the China Open was $373,000. The women's total was $165,000. And the winner for the men's will get $40,000. The woman's winner will get $36,000. So you want to talk about big prize
That's
funds.
the China Open deal.
Correct.
Not the tri-states.
No.
1,000 added. Well, I tell you, it's the tri-states, by the way, Geraldine. So.
Okay.
So anyway, I guess Frankie and George Rodriguez are in the finals now. Is that correct? Or I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you figure they're in Eastern time. So.
Cali Fool in the chat room just posted
Eastern time, so that's like 5 p.m. in the afternoon.
All right, let's move on. We got lots of stuff to talk about.
Big news.
Big news
in the industry.
Big industry news.
That doesn't have anything to do with a tournament. Is Q-Tech officially announced their carbon fiber shaft that they're going to be releasing in early December.
Okay. Now, we've seen that shaft before, haven't we?
We did. We saw it during actually the West Coast Challenge and during the West Coast Swing.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the first time you saw it because we had several questions in the chat room. Is Shane playing with the Revo shaft? Yeah,
that's the thing. I've published a lot of the videos already that Shane's been in, and everybody's saying, is Shane using a Revo? Well, I have news for you. It's a Q-Tech shaft. It looks like a Revo. It's black. It's dark. I'm gonna go all out here because we're not really familiar with the engineering of the product. We're not familiar with any of the actual composites that they're using. I'm gonna assume though it's a very similar carbon fiber product, similar to the one that Revo is using, and it's gonna be comparable to the Revo. That's what they've made this for. And do you know what the model number is?
No.
What the model is it? But basically, Q-Tech has published this statement, which was on their Facebook page. Our new carbon fiber or carbon composite shaft will have an MSRP, manufacturer's suggested retail price of $449 USD. Retailers set their own pricing, so reach out to your local Q dealer in early December to get their price. Hashtag Q Sports, hashtag new product, hashtag billiards. Now that was the statement on Q-Tech's Facebook page. No other news about the Q-Tech shaft though, right?
The only thing that aside from that is I believe it's going to be a 12.5 millimeter, and it will be available in almost all pins. So that's what I had heard. It kind of, I think you're going to see more of these carbon fiber shafts. Predator announced a new product. It's been a huge hit.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't the trend to some extent follow? Why would other production Q makers not make a production carbon fiber shaft?
Yes, I mean, I work over at Tiger Products, and I know that Tiger Products has been doing some R&D on a new type of shaft, which, that's about as much as I can discuss on that.
So the Revo shaft is $500.
So the Revo, well, that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, they've really done a good job of controlling the market. You know what I mean? Because there was a sort of a, how do you say? They really drove up demand with a great marketing technique by basically saying, we only have this many shafts, right?
Well, it started before then.
And so there was this mad rush, even shortly after the Predator Revo was released.
Well, it was before then, right?
Everybody wanted the shaft.
But before any of that, right? Do you remember what happened? Supposedly, Predator gave Jaron Appleton a shaft and said, "Don't use it.
Don't show it to anybody. Don't use it." Yeah, and he used it in a tournament, and so the cat's out of the bag. Yeah. And that was like a year before the shaft came out, right? Maybe 6 months.
6 months,
or so,
yeah, something like that. And then so now they have limited supplies or what have you for this carbon fiber shaft. And since then you've seen it's very tough to get one. I mean, you're seeing them on Facebook. People are selling them. You're seeing, but from my understanding, getting one from Predator is a little tough.
Right, that's true. And so what has happened is people are selling them for $600 and $700. They're not going for $500 now.
And so the question that you and I had talked about was, is it priced right then? Is the Q-Tech
priced right?
No, if the Revo shaft was priced higher, there would still be a demand, but not as many people buying it because it was priced higher. But you said.
I said, basically my theory is that Predator's doing this on purpose to they make supply, they provide low supply, high demand, and it keeps their pricing high. So that it keeps their pricing fixed with it. Because let's just put it, let's be realistic, folks. The profit margin on that Revo shaft must be ridiculously high. I mean, how
insane?
Insane. That's a carbon fiber rod with a little bit of foam sprayed into the middle of it, right?
I don't know.
It ain't all that. It ain't all that this big engineering marvel.
It ain't even got a ferrule.
It doesn't even have a ferrule, right?
Right?
I don't know what it's got. But anyways, what I'm saying is it's not some huge engineering marvel. It's carbon fiber. It's relatively expensive. I mean, people are buying ski poles from China for $15 that are made of carbon fiber, and they're very strong, and their ski poles are very professional. So the profit margin on these Revos is extremely high. And so now you've got, it's driving up the price of shafts everywhere, even for the non-carbon fiber shaft. Like now people who are making wooden shafts or any kind of low deflection shaft, now they're raising their prices up to $275, $300 just for a regular wooden shaft now.
So Q-Tech's price at $450 is $50 cheaper.
$50 cheaper to be competitive with Predator, but Predator already has another plan in their back pocket to release the Revo 2, which is when demand starts to go down on the original Revo product, which may happen when this Q-Tech shaft comes out. So we're going to see sort of a little bit of a war.
Sure. It's interesting. I was not surprised. I guess I was more surprised that we didn't see Q-Tech introduce a carbon fiber shaft first. I would have expected them to be, because you saw something like the Marty Carey Jump Q released. It was carbon fiber, right? I would have expected Q-Tech to next Q company
to be the first.
Yeah, the first actual Q company to release something like this. Considering that they have their R360 shaft, which is a laminated maple shaft that's wrapped in what they call high-tech material, which if you look at the diagram on their website, it looks like it's wrapped by carbon fiber, and it's a drawn diagram, so I could be completely wrong, but anyways. And then their Pro Series is a maple shaft coated with fiberglass or graphite.
Yeah, they've got several choice, and they've been doing this for like 20 years.
Yeah.
They've been doing stuff like making their white shaft. I don't know what it was made out of. It's graphite. I think they were making graphite shafts at first. Yeah.
So it was, it was a little surprising to me that Predator was the one to win the race to come out with
the first carbon
fiber shaft, considering that Q-Tech has been doing this tech new age
R&D,
tech of different shafts for many years.
Well, you know what I said the other day, right? Like, I'm gonna laugh when Walmart comes out with the same product for like $99, right? Or Sport Chalet or something like that. They're like, oh, here's our little starter Q, right? Made of carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber, exactly.
And you're gonna see pool players standing in line at the Sport Chalet to get these freaking shafts.
You're not gonna.
They're gonna have a screw. They'll have a screw-on tip.
But you're not gonna see that, right? Because it's this whole price thing. Sometimes price dictates how you see the value of something, right? So you could buy a pair of leather sandals, and they're not made by any name brand, but for like $50.
Yeah.
And then you go down the street to Gucci, and they have leather sandals for $500.
Right.
So what are you paying for? Leather is leather is leather.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's true.
To some extent. So that was the big news that I think everybody was looking out for for like a month or two now.
That's true. And so we still have to wait till December.
Correct.
To actually get this in your hand. But you know what? I have to say for Shane, I think this has pumped him up a little bit. I mean, he's happy with the new Q. He's been doing really well with it. And everybody seems to be, and he's been kind of...
from what I've heard, he's gone through a couple Qs.
But he's been comfortable with the way he's playing with this new carbon fiber shaft.
The shaft, but I think he's gone through a couple Q butts in the last month or so.
Oh, okay.
And Q-Tech's been, trying to get him what he needs or wants with the proper feel. He did win Turning Stone.
Yeah, and then he came in. Did okay at the West Coast Swings too. Yeah. Second place in the one pocket with Tony Cho.
And then he went to China.
He won
this week.
He won the Turning Stone. He's in China. Yeah.
So
at the China Open.
We'll see how he does. He's
chasing that $370,000.
I ain't mad.
Huh?
I ain't mad.
I ain't mad.
The other big news.
No, I'm not going to trash states. I'm going to go to China. I can't be mad at you, brother. Go chase that money. So
interesting, this whole concept of. So I'm going to jump around a little bit without you even knowing. Bert Van Manen. Manen had posted an article about what it takes to be a professional player. And and this was, I think, in the last couple days or earlier today, rather.
Yeah.
And I think the title was like beats a 9 to 5, right? So being a professional player beats a 9 to 5. And he talks about you have to be able to travel, you have to be able to play through jet lag, you have to be able to adjust to different tables, and all of this contributes to why these players are professional players. And he was speaking in terms of billiards players, but this goes to say the same thing for all cue sports, for snooker players, for billiard players, for 9-ball players, 1-pocket players, not as much as 1-pocket internationally. You have to be able to play through that. And, you and I have seen a lot of players come through some of our tournaments that we're like, wow, they're such a great player. You see them play like out of the Philippines. You see them on these streams and, you know, you're amazed by how well they play. And then they get out here and it's like, what's the limit?
Yeah.
And I'll give you my example. And, you know, I love the guy. I think he's a great person. But the last couple years that Edgy Geronimo has came out to the United States.
Well, just the last time.
The last time?
Yeah, he didn't fare so well.
Yeah, the performance that he showed was not so...
It was just mediocre.
Yeah. And part of it, and, you know, like we got to hang out with him a little more than I think usual, was he was having a tough time adjusting through the jet lag or through whatever else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do want to say congrats to Edgy and his wife. They're expecting a new baby.
Yes, they are.
There's this crazy like baby boom that's
So
going
it's like
on.
Dennis Orcolio and his wife. They're going to have another baby too.
Yeah, September. Jason Shaw.
Jason Shaw just had a baby.
So in 20 years from now.
Congratulations.
20 years from now.
Or
You're
no.
gonna
Have they had the baby yet?
No.
No.
20 years from now, you're going to have this big boom of like new pool
playing
players.
kids, yeah. Anyway, that was a picture of Bert Van Manen that I put in the live stream. And I also put his, he's got a Facebook page called Bert's Billiard Page. You know, he's definitely respectable in the billiard community.
He writes articles for Kazoom.
Yeah. So, but you do bring up a good point. You know, professional players, they have to deal with jet lag, with different playing conditions, with different types of. There's different etiquette from country to country too. You know, you know, there are things that you just don't do in China that you would do here in the U.S. all the time. You know, like I don't know what those things are. Like looking at your phone is a big deal in Japan. Don't look at your phone while you're in a match in Japan. If you do, I don't know what happens. Anyway, I'm going to turn down the background music. Thank you very much for letting us know. We're gonna move on to the next story. But first off, I want to say thanks. Hey, Golden Rib, thanks so much for the super chat of $10. We actually am not really doing this podcast so that you guys. But that's really, really nice of you, and we did not expect that. Golden Rib, you've been a pretty avid follower of POVPOOL since the West Coast swing, and we really appreciate that. Thanks to Golden Rib for your super chat. It says, "Take care, you two." Speaking of you two, did you hear about Bono? He lost his voice during a concert.
Yeah, so they canceled.
They canceled the show, and I think next few dates. Just happened like last night.
Yeah. No, 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago, yeah. Take care, you two. The way he spelled it was you two.
Yeah.
So thanks, Golden Rib. So all right, let's go with the next story.
So speaking of three cushion in general, the LGU Plus, not this.
Yeah.
Cup began, or the draw took place last night, I guess. If you're in the United States, it was in the evening, at the nighttime for us.
Oh, we have a little video of that, don't we? Let's go
take a look at the video.
Yeah. Take a look at this clip. This is the draw. This is how they do the draw for the LGU 3-Cushion Masters 16-player invitational, and this is how they do the draw. I think it's really awesome.
Turn up the volume.
No, we don't. All right, that's cool. That was Torbjorn Blomdahl and Eddie Lepens and
Not Eddie Lepens.
I'm sorry. Who did you have?
Eddie Merckx.
Eddie Merckx and Frederic Caldron and
Last year's winner, Marco Zanetti.
Zanetti, and who else did you have there? You had a couple Korean players.
Dick Jaspers.
Choi and Dick Jaspers.
Oh my God, I forgot his name. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. But here's what's frustrating about it. I mean, it's a Chinese tournament. It's a Korean tournament. So we're not getting a lot of translations to English. This is the result of the draw.
For now, you will.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing about the Korean and other countries is they're so meticulous. Like,
yeah, they are.
You know, like everything is presented in a particular way. So, you know, this was their opening draw, their opening ceremonies that happened, and each player sat down and they went up and they took their turn to grab a ball to identify what grouping they were in.
Yeah.
For the round robin. And, you know, we saw it during the McCreary tournament. You know, the Korean officials, very strict, thorough. Yeah, and you see it through all their tournaments. Mm-hmm. I particularly look forward to the LGU Plus Cup. It's presented by Billiards TV through Kazoo as well, so you will be able to watch it
as Kazoo member.
As a Kazoo member, correct. I believe they also post their archives. Last year they did. I don't know what the outcome is this year as far as that's concerned, but they post the archive that same day to the Billiards TV YouTube, so that you do have you can retrieve that archive immediately to watch it. And it's presented a little differently. They do have commentary. It is in Korean, so which I kind of like the commentary. I mean, although you know I may not.
It's fine by me.
Yeah, like it is kind of interesting to be able to hear something beside the clanking of the balls.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Just to have that background noise, I guess.
Yeah.
And you get the idea. You know what they're the expression in a commentator's voice. How excited they are, like, oh, that must have been a good shot. You know what I mean?
Right. Or with the Chinese commentators, you know, we used to have the you know, or
no, it's Korean.
Yeah.
That's Korean.
That's Korean? No, yeah. I always knew that to be like a Taiwanese deal. Anyway.
So that's happening this week in Seoul at the Grand Hilton Hotel. I think previous years they've had it at different arenas, a shopping center.
Yeah.
I think the LG building, actually, Creative Center or something. But this year they're having it at the Grand Hilton. And then next week, the 13th through 16th, they have the 3cc Survival Masters in Incheon, which is like the next big city in Korea. And that's happening at the Hotel Sky Park.
Now here's a picture from last year.
Not last year. This is a new series. This is
this week.
July. No,
okay.
This picture is from July. So this
from July.
3cc Masters is a new series that's being introduced, and it's really interesting because they're not just playing the game in the original standard, in the original way that you see it. So in this picture in particular, from July's event, they basically had a projector over the table, and it had pre-programmed shots that each player would play.
Right.
So there is no, you don't play defense. It's just a matter of how many points can you get from this jump off point, right?
Yeah.
So here's the shot. You both play this shot, and how many points can you get from there? You're not playing defense for the next player's shot. And so that's what happened in July. Eddie Merckx had won that tournament.
I like that format. It's kind of like ring game.
Well, no, the next one's more like ring game. You'll enjoy.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll enjoy this one when it comes up next week.
Right.
So the 3cc Survival Masters is what's happening.
That's the one, the Survival Masters. Yeah.
So 4 players on a table, And it's like Ring Game and you start off with 40 points, and it's a 90-minute game, split up into 2 parts, so 45 minutes each part, right? You start off with 40 points, and there are 4 people playing on this table, and if you make a point, then you take a point. If you score, right, I don't even know how you say this, right? Like, you make a legal point.
You make a billiard.
You make a billiard. Thank you so much. You let me like drown a little bit.
Once you earn the billiard.
Once you earn the billiard, you take a point from
everybody else.
From your opponents.
So it's almost like a Ring Game format if you were taking chips from people. Yeah.
And so if you hit 0, let's say you're not playing well and you hit 0 and everyone's taking your points, you're out. You're out for the remainder. You've lost out of that match.
That's cool.
Great thing about this tournament, first place, $50,000.
Oh, wow. So we're seeing a lot of high payout format tournaments kind of emerge in the last 2-3 years, mainly in the Asian countries and European countries, correct? That's what you're saying. That's what we're observing.
I think we're seeing it a lot out of Asia more than anything else.
Yeah.
You're still
high payouts.
High payouts. From snooker.
More financing going into Q Sports
Snooker has always kind of had this high payout in the UK.
Yeah. Snooker's leveled out, though, in the last 3-4 years. Even though you feel like the payouts are high compared to what they get in the United States, they're a little lower than they were 5 to 7 years ago.
Sure, and I know Ronnie
O'Sullivan is always protesting that. You know, I mean, for a full clearance in snooker in Great Britain, they used to give £147,000 during the World Championship. Now it's just £10,000.
That's it.
You know, for 147 points, you'd get £147,000.
And it's crazy because it's not like the economy's recessed.
No, it's not. Well, you know,
the cost of living, everything's going up and up and up and up. So,
yeah. Anyway, so the 3CCC.
3CC Survivor Masters.
3CC
Survival
Survivors
Masters is also happening in Korea the following week. So I believe all those players, and I believe maybe an extra 4 or an extra 8 are joining in that next tournament.
Okay.
As well, and that's happening next week.
All right, so let's talk more about pool, because I know we've got some stuff going on at pool, and also I just want to forewarn you guys, we're going to get controversial a little bit later, so don't go anywhere. We got a couple of controversial things to discuss with you guys. So what's the next?
So next week, September 7th through 9th. Is the Houston 9-Ball Open at Legends Billiards in League City, Texas. 7,500 added. We don't have a graphic for that.
I don't have the graphic.
But I'm just mentioning that is the next biggest tournament. So
all the Texas Open players.
Yeah, just probably going to stay over there
to Houston. And if you're in Houston, go say hi to Jerry Olivier. He'll probably be there.
Well, he's sponsoring the Houston 9-Ball Open. So it is called the Jerry Olivier Presents the 9-Ball.
Oh, it is that?
Yeah, correct.
Oh, all right. Cool,
correct.
Cool.
And then following that, between September 13th through 15th, there is a Cliff Joyner fundraiser tournament.
Yes.
Yes. And that's happening at Good Times Billiards in Alabama. The total added money is $5,000 between, I think, 4 different tournaments. So there's a ring game tournament. There's a 10-ball, $1,000 added mini. There's a $3,000 added 1-pocket tournament.
Yeah.
And there's a $2,000 added 9-ball tournament.
Okay.
And there's a player auction, and there's a ring game.
Okay, so the flyers on the screen. Now this is what I wanted to get to, because this is, it says at the top of the flyer, it says Cliff Joyner fundraiser.
But so there's a max player count for the 1-pocket tournament of 24 players, and for each entry, $25 is being taken out of that entry of $25. It's going to go to Cliff Joyner.
Okay. So for those who don't know, Cliff Joyner, Hall of Fame one-pocket player, he suffered from a stroke last year. Or was it the very beginning of this year?
This year.
And I think he was bound to a wheelchair for a while. I mean, he's had a slow recovery, and he had a stroke, and it can be pretty devastating. I mean, not only just to your health, but also to, financially. There's all kinds of medical expenses that come along with a stroke, depending on what level of
how much care you need, and
how much care you need, what kind of rehabilitation and physical therapy you need. So it's very important that if you have a friend or a loved one who has a medical issue like this, and in the pool world, it's pretty common, because it's not a lot of pool players have insurance,
jobs.
Money,
retirement.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of brings up an issue with.
Truth be told, most players, and there are exceptions out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Shane Van Boening, Jason Shaw, Oscar Dominguez. You do have certain responsible ones, and I'm probably, missing a lot of them.
Yeah.
But you do have a lot of responsible ones that do save their money, that do put their money aside, that have an IRA account, or any of the various means to save money.
Yes.
Or invest it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them.
You also got to remember, those are pool players who are also lucky enough to make enough money.
No, there are a lot of them who still don't do that. Big pool players.
Yeah.
I can name them.
We could.
But I won't.
Yes.
Because that's their life. That's their fault.
Right.
Who just blow it at the casino. And not just a little bit.
Or something similar, which is their own thing. They can do that.
But everyone gets old.
Everyone gets old, yeah.
At some point in your life, if you don't just die in a car accident like this, you will have some kind of medical expense.
Yeah.
You will have some kind of how are you going to make money? How are you going to have a steady stream of income coming to you?
Yeah.
When you can't play pool anymore competitively.
Especially when you can't play pool anymore, when that's taken away from you.
Correct.
Correct. So I like the idea of this fundraiser, but hold on a second. There's a little bit of a flaw with this fundraiser, isn't there? And I'm going to let you point that out.
So with 5,000 added, here's my problem with this. When you add money to a fundraiser tournament, instead of
which we've done before.
We've not added money.
Not adding money.
We have done charity tournaments.
When you have a fundraiser tournament, though.
We have had charity tournaments. And in my opinion, if you're adding money, then that money could just be given as charity.
To the fund.
To the fund, whatever you're fundraising for.
Yeah. So why add money?
Why add money? Especially for someone, who has had such a huge background in pool. And who's
Hall of Famer,
who has created, who is to some extent changed One Pocket in its form, right? And who's made a big contribution to One Pocket in the way he plays.
Yeah.
Why not just say we're having a fundraiser tournament? Come support
for this person.
Come support
it.
Cliff Joyner. Not we're going to add $5,000.
And then we're going to take out the money anyway from the green fee.
Not green fee. Your entry. We're going to take out $25. But to top it off, there's maximums, right? So there's only 24 players allowed to play in the One Pocket. That means
the field is capped.
Yeah. So that means $600 from the One Pocket tournament, if they have a full field, will go to Cliff Joyner.
Okay.
That means if they get 128 players, which can be a little tough.
Yeah.
128 players in their 9-ball.
Yeah.
Then at most it'll be $3,200. So
right.
At most he'll get $3,800. But you're adding in like $5,000.
What about the 10-ball tournament?
No, there is no. They're not taking out any.
It's
a mini. It's a mini.
Ah, okay. So $4,400 max is what One Pocket Kid says in the chat room.
Probably. I might have just.
Yeah. So what you're saying is this whole thing's 5,000 added, guaranteed. But then there's all that $4,400 of that could potentially go to Cliff Joyner for the fundraiser in the first place.
And that's it.
So what's this flaw? What do you think should happen? Are you saying that the 5,000 added is just to attract the players,
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't. And there's a player's auction too, so you're gonna get money coming in.
There is
right?
a player's auction, yeah.
There will
and
be.
I don't think any of that's going to Cliff Joyner.
Not to mention on the flyer, and it doesn't say anything about, let's say, raffles. Like I could see if hey, come, we have these huge raffles.
Yeah,
like,
that's what we did.
We've always done it. Yeah,
we had raffles to support the charity that we were having the tournament for.
Correct.
We had no added money.
We
we also told them, look, half of your entry is going toward the charity as well.
Correct.
And when we distributed the prize money, whatever was left over, we didn't pay ourselves.
Correct.
We didn't pay anybody else. The bar made money at the bar just by being the bar, and a lot of money. I remember we went to Toys R Us. Remember that?
Yeah.
We went to
you
guys will love this.
Shopping carts full
we
of
went
toys.
to Toys R Us with $1,800 cash, right? Remember? And we bought toys, and it was great.
We went to the South El Monte, the city of South El Monte. Would do a toy drive.
Yeah, we dropped off 4 shopping carts of toys to the city of South El Monte, and you know what? It made us feel really good that we did it. It was worth all the hard work that we did for that tournament, and there was no added money.
No.
There was, and it was just, you know what? We're having a charity tournament.
Play, don't play, I don't care.
That's how I think the Cliff Joyner thing should. I'm not going to tell them to rewrite their own deal, but this is why I say we're getting controversial here, because, I'm going to criticize it. I'm going to say that to say 5,000 added is really just, that's playing 3-card Monty, really. That's just kind of a switcheroo.
Yeah,
There's no 5,000 added, folks. Come on. There's no 5,000 added. It's just 4,400. And what if they don't have a full field? Then, let's say they only get half the field. So then that's only $2,200 going to Cliff Joyner.
Yeah. It's their tournament.
It's their tournament. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and you can go ahead and criticize me all you want. Well, I didn't have a tournament for Cliff Joyner. You're right.
Yeah.
I haven't. I won't. He hasn't been that impactful on my life.
No.
And I pay for my own medical. So,
Do you? Do you really? Yeah, you do.
So.
By the way, that actually brings up another point.
Sure.
Medical and national, insurance. Let's be real here. I heard a story from Scott Frost talking about his grandmother or his mom, and how her medical expenses had her Medicaid would not kick in until all of her assets were depleted. And this just, when I heard this story, it broke my heart, because
it happens across our country all the time.
Yeah, because there is no universal health care in the United States, you basically have to deplete all of your resources before any kind of Medicaid kicks in, any kind of universal care of any kind kicks in.
Correct.
You must be completely destitute, and you must be able to prove that you're destitute in order for Medicaid to kick in.
And that could mean in a retirement home, an old age home.
Yeah.
It could mean hospice. It could mean any of those means.
Right.
You have to be completely depleted before the government
can intervene or subsidize your medical. Right.
Correct.
Now, when I heard this story, my jaw dropped, because my mother right now is living in Great Britain. We're British citizens. I was born in Britain. I came here when I was 7 years old, and that's why I don't sound British. But my mother, she sounds very British. In fact, she moved back to Great Britain 5 years ago. Now, why did she move back to Great Britain? Well, she had some health issues. She needed a hip replacement. She had really no insurance here. She had her own business. Basically, she was a private chef, and she started to deteriorate slowly, and decided, you know what? I should move back to Great Britain because that's where I'm going to get universal health care. I've got national health, and they're going to provide me with my hip replacements. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that social medicine is not the way to go. The universal health care is not the way to go, but because of certain constraints. And I just want to argue that right now because my mother is living proof that it is much more humane. Okay. Not only does my mother own 2 cottages in Wales, okay, one of them is a rental property that she uses for holiday makers to come out and they spend 3 or 4 days, you know, like an Airbnb. And then the one that she lives to next door is the one that she's living in. Okay. Now, she owns those properties outright. Okay. She has one of them is an income property for her. It doesn't make a lot of income, but it makes some income. Okay. Now, also, my mom's needed 2 hips replaced. She's also got some severe arthritis. She has arrhythmia. She's got a lot of issues. You know what I mean? And you know, brace yourself, guys. When you guys turn 67, 68, 69, you know, this is what you have to look forward to as well. Okay. Now, the difference is though, is my mom got to go and she got her medical care, and it was paid for. There were a couple things she had to pay for, but they were like very minimal, like £100. Okay, that's basically like what, $140. Mm-hmm. Okay. The point I'm trying to make, folks, is that she has received the best possible health care that you can get at no cost to her. And not only was it at no cost to her, she managed to maintain and keep all of her assets, live her life. In fact, she's able to have her medical care paid for by the government and still maintain all of her dignity. Okay, but in the United States, you can't get that. So that's the big point I want to make about healthcare in the United States, why we need to change that.
And you ask, why this tangent? The tangent is, you see people like Cliff Joyner.
Yeah.
You see other pool players who will have medical problems and don't have the means to pay for it.
Exactly. I wonder what I'm going to do. I'm turning 50. You know, woo! Hip replacement coming up, coming soon. No, but it's true. I mean, I can laugh it off right now, but it's true. All of us pool players that are out there, you know,
okay, so a majority of pool players, pro pool players at least,
yeah,
are independent contractors.
Yeah.
They may not necessarily have medical going for them. And without, this kind of segues into, if you had a professional association for pro pool players, there could be medical.
That could be set up too, but there is no professional association for pool players in the United States. Go figure, huh? Go figure. So anyway, let's talk about all this later on down the line as it develops.
As we get older.
Yeah. This is just a total impromptu podcast. We just wanted to thank you guys all for watching. Do we have anything else to discuss? We do.
We have a couple, further down the line next month, there is the
Chinese 8-ball.
Chinese 8-ball International Open, and we're bringing this up because there will be a tournament in LA.
Yes, in Los Angeles, the City of Industry.
In the City of Industry. A total purse of $37,700. First place will take home $15,000.
That's pretty awesome. And not only do they take $15,000, they get a paid trip to China to play in the Worlds event. Now this is actually a new deal, folks. Joy Tables is now campaigning aggressively to promote the Chinese 8-ball format on their new Joy Tables, the Chinese 8-ball tables that they've designed, and so it's going to be very difficult for you to find Joy Tables in the United States right now. However, there are a few qualifiers for the World's event taking place around the world. There's another one in Paris, France.
South Africa.
South Africa is another one, and Los Angeles. Okay, so that's what we know of so far. And, you know, above and beyond being just a qualifier, they also have a pretty good prize fund going. It's only $128 to get in. And
they have this tiered entry that
yeah,
I'm not
they
quite
have some
sure
kind of tiered
I
entry
follow,
as well.
so.
But here's the deal, okay, folks? If you're interested in this tournament, you're looking to participate in this event, you can email Terrence Liu or a guy named Peter. So email Terrence at joy147.com or Peter at uniprospect.com and find out about entering in this tournament, which takes place October 13th through 19. And I have news for you guys. As soon as people start finding out about this tournament, they're going to sign up real quick, and they already are starting to sign up pretty quick. A lot of players in California have already expressed interest, guys that I know.
We have a big announcement.
And we do have a big announcement.
Yes.
We do.
We have a huge player who's going to be playing in this tournament.
A huge player who's going to be playing in this.
Daniel Bush.
Oh, gosh. Am I playing in this? All right. Well, I better hurry up. I'm going to play in this tournament. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and enter
Daniel
the
and I have
tournament.
talked about it. It is a 5-day event, I believe, so it starts on like a Thursday or Wednesday.
It's kind of, that's the only problem, is it's kind of a long event. It's 13th through 19th.
7 days.
Yeah. And I don't know what they're doing too is they're playing a 128 player field double elimination down to 32 players, and then they're playing 32 players single elimination. So it's a modified double elimination tournament. And they're also paying down to 32 places. So I think 32nd place receives $200.
Which is great.
It's great. It's awesome. It is great. So I really, you know, I wish everybody, in fact, I wish Joy Cat and the Joy Joy crew, I wish them all the best of luck. And if they need any help with this, they can also contact me, Daniel at POVPOOL.com. And, you know, maybe I can offer some additional promotional services or whatever. But this should be a good deal. It's, I guess they are, I don't know much about the space that they're playing this event at, but I know it's in the City of Industry.
It looks to be a warehouse. I looked at it on Google Maps.
Really? Wow.
City of Industry.
City of Industry is like the city. It is.
Well,
it is what it sounds.
Yeah, it's a bunch of
City
warehouses
Industry,
and a lot of industry is based out of there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of companies decide to go more inland with their companies because at the time and even now, the space is a little cheaper than actually being in LA. Less traffic too.
Yeah, yeah.
So so it is happening there. A lot like La Puente area, Commerce area, I believe.
So October 13th through 19. So I'm gonna assume that some of the big names are going to be going to play in this event.
You know, we talked about this. I think Shane will probably be there.
Yes.
He does spend some time in Southern California.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to call Jason Weir and find out.
And so I'm assuming that if Shane doesn't have anything else conflicting, that he'll probably be there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I just hope I don't, you know.
Don't say that.
Draw
Don't
Shane
say that.
and then like, you know,
take it
Jason
as,
Shaw
take,
like the same.
Take it as the experience that you paid $128
to play the Masters.
To
Yes, I know.
play a professional player and learn from it.
No, you know, you get a lot of respect from them too when they see that you enter. You know, but I want to see if I can cash in the top 32. That'd be great. So that's it, pretty much.
No, there's one more.
There's one more.
One more I want to talk about. The Bogies' third annual One Pocket Senior Open. I don't know if you want to call it an open.
Okay. The third annual senior
One Pocket
tournament. Yeah.
It's happening in Bogies in Texas. 65 years or older as of 2018. And $200 entry. Third year it's happening, and I know it's a huge hit with the One Pocket players. And they talk a lot about it on onepocket.org. So, that being said, this and everything else, all the information that we gave you here, well, maybe not all of it because you're not going to get our expert analysis, right?
Yeah, our opinions.
Our opinion, because we don't comment a lot on forums, because then you're kind of trapped in this loop, this rabbit hole of like, oh, I got to check it. I got to check the forum. I got to see if anyone responded.
And then you got the keyboard commandos.
Yeah, and then you become one of them. And so anyways, but all the information, perfect resources, onepocket.org.
Yes.
All these One Pocket tournaments you will see promoted on there. You will see everybody's input information. You see what would you do shots on onepocket.org. If you're not a onepocket.org member, go be one. It's a great opportunity for you to interact with other One Pocket players and find out what's actually going on in any state. The other website that you want to go to, of course, most of you probably already know, is AZ Billiards. Check out their forums. Main forum, you'll see anything that's trending in Q Sports will usually hit that main forum. Any live stream that's happening from any live streamer, you're going to see in the live stream area. You're going to also find the China Open, I think, on the main forum. And that's kind of, you want to follow that thread so you can find out where is it being broadcasted again, what foreign broadcast website that I won't understand anything on. You could probably find out more information there. Someone will figure it out and post it. You can ask your question there. And the other place is Go Play Pool. So if you want to know what tournament's happening in your neck of the woods, if you're going to travel to, let's say, North Dakota in 3 weeks, go to goplaypool.com or check out their app, and you can find out, you go to their flyer section, and you can find out any tournament that's happening across the nation. I think up into like 3 months in advance. So that gives you plenty of travel lead time to figure out what tournament you want to play in, if you want to check out a tournament or, anything else like that.
All right.
And I think the only other thing that I wanted to say was the big news that's kind of lurking in the horizon is Tony Chohan is expected to play Alex Pagulayan One Pocket in the near future.
Did that get booked?
It's still being worked out. Tony Chohan posted this week. Details to come soon. So
Details to come soon.
That's lurking over the horizon.
All right. Well, good. Well, that concludes POV Pool's second historical podcast. Yay. We will be adding more bells and whistles to POV Pool's podcast in the future.
Maybe a camera.
Yes, more bells and whistles are to come. So you'll get to see us talking while we do this podcast, and we may have additional special guests, additional video clips, and it'll actually be more like a podcast or more like a news show than anything else. So, but we are glad that you guys joined us for the second podcast on POV Pool. Please don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned also, because we're just about to provide coverage of this One Pocket match between Bryce Avila and Josh Clover from the West Coast Challenge One Pocket event that took place just a couple months ago in Northern California.
So give us 5 minutes?
Yeah, give us 5 minutes. And once again, thanks a lot. All of the flyers and the photos were courtesy of some of the groups that we found on Facebook, like the USA International Chinese 8-Ball Open, the Cliff Joyner event, the LG Cup, and the Bogies event, and QTech, all found on Facebook. So thanks so much to all you guys for posting your information so that we can find it. Yeah. guess. So with that, we'll be right back. Thanks for watching the POV Pool podcast.